This old rototiller behind me, in many people's eyes, is just a piece of junk, but not for me. It has a lot of history and I wanted to bring it back to life. But there was some major hurdles and obstacles that I had to overcome with the engine. It was missing several parts and I had to find those parts, tear the old engine apart, and put it back together. And I want to show you that engine. This engine here had a bad crank in it. The ignition system was all messed up. It didn't have the recoil starter cover or the nut or the flywheel. This engine back here had all those components and they matched this engine, so I disassembled this entire engine, took the parts out of here and installed them in this engine. And that is part one of this video. This is part two of the restoration of that old rototiller. This motor does run. I poured a little gas down the carburetor and pull it and it starts. You can see that in the first video. And in this video I want to get it to run on its own. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the carburetor off and I'm going to drop it into my ultrasonic cleaner, get it all cleaned up and see if we can't get this motor functional so it actually starts and runs the way it's intended to. Let's get this carburetor off of here. There's 2 bolts here, 3 screws here, there's a bolt underneath here holding the tank, and we also have this muffler. I'm going to see if I can't get the muffler loose. And the way I do that is it's got this locking collar right there. I'm just going to take a punch and hit that. And it looks like it's going to come right off of there, so we'll take that out. When I go to get this back, I'll make sure this is all loose here. And so everything looks good and lines up. Okay, let's just start taking a few screws out here. Let's see if we can't get this one. We'll lay everything here on this shop rag that I got set up on the table and see what we can get accomplished. Now, I should probably take the tank off first. But I'm taking this out because it was the easiest one to get to. Okay, this bolt under here is a 7/16. I'm going to run it out. Yep, came right loose. And the idea of getting this carburetor off, obviously, is so I can put it in an ultrasonic cleaner to get cleaned up. Okay, we are loose. I have a little hose over here, you can't see it. I'm going to undo it and it's fed into, it's a breather hose. Actually that's a piece of aluminum and it goes into the side where my tappets and valves come down. It's a breather hose. I do have some springs and stuff here that are attached. I'm going to unhook this one. And this one right here goes underneath the shroud there. I'm going to leave that one alone for right now just to see if I can't get this bottom screw out. Then I should be able to get that loose fairly easy. Let's see if that's loose at all. I'm going to see if I can't find an open end wrench to get on that. I found the right size and it took a little while to get that off, but I did get this loose. Now the next thing I want to do is try to get this tank detached from the carburetor. We'll see how that goes. I did have to take the recoil starter shroud off to get this governor wire disconnected, and then this spring that was right here also went to the governor. So Let me get set up here and let's see if I can't get the tank loose from the carburetor. First thing I'm going to do though is dump the gas out of the thing. Oh. Boy, it smells like a raunchy diaper. I was able to get those 3 screws out. They came out extremely hard. I used a little penetrating oil and it took a lot of muscle to keep it from stripping out that Phillips head. But here we have the carburetor. And you can see that there's just no way this carburetor was ever going to function correctly. I guess what I'm going to do now is just disassemble this carburetor the best I can and put it in the ultrasonic cleaner and see what happens. Tell you what, I may just put it in there just like it is to get it started to get cleaned. Same way with this fuel tank. It's full of rust. Not really. I can't really see in there too well. Grab a light. Oh yeah, there's quite a bit of residue in there. And then also I have this gasket right here on top. I'm going to try to get it off so that I can make another one, or at least try to buy the kit for this carburetor. Let me get this stuff in there and show you what I'm doing. Here's my cleaner and my solution. I'm going to go ahead and just drop this carburetor in. I got the tank in the best I can. We'll just let that cook there for a little bit and we'll come back to it. Okay, I've had this stuff soaking for about an hour and I'll show you what it's looking like. But I did turn it over. But here's the carburetor. It still needs some cleaning, but that really helped out. And let's take a look at this tank. The water really got dirty, but I'm really surprised how good that actually looks inside there. Let's get this. Oh, that's a little warm. Yeah, there's still some rust in there. Tell you what I'm going to do with it now. I'm going to go ahead and put my rust proofing product and soak this in my rust proofing. But you can see how that soaking actually started to take that black paint right off of the old tank. It's kind of amazing how that happened. Along with some of the white paint, it did take my decal off of there. That's too bad, but okay, we'll set this here and I want to take a look at this carburetor just a little bit closer and see if we can't still get some of this stuff off of it. But boy, that really cleaned it up. I took the carburetor completely apart and I have it soaking again in the ultrasonic cleaner. You can see all those parts there. We'll put it back in there. Let that soak another 15-20 minutes. I took the tank here and I poured a rust inhibitor and dissolver in there. It's the stuff that I've used consistently here in my shop. It's Geico, I don't know. But it works good on dissolving and neutralizing rust. And with the fine screens that this carburetor has and the way it sucks up fuel from this tank, we have to have, absolutely have to have a clean tank. So let's see if this works. We'll let this set again. In the meantime, I'm going to go on the interweb and see if I can't find a carburetor kit for this with all the gaskets and the new pump gasket. This is the diaphragm for the fuel pump. It is a little bit deformed. I probably could use it if I had to, but I would like to find a new one. And this is the gasket that was in between the tank and the carburetor. And although, there again, I could make one, but I don't want to. I want to find a new one. So let's go at it and let this stuff cook again for a little bit, and I'll get back with you when we get done with it. Well, I have everything out of the ultrasonic cleaner, and I went ahead and bolted everything back on the engine, and I want to show that to you. You remember what this looked like. It was all black, tank was black. It cleaned the inside of the tank out somewhat, and this works just a little harder than it used to. My gaskets were gone, so I made a makeshift gasket there and one here, and I've got the old diaphragm rubber thing. I don't know if this carburetor will work or not, but we're definitely going to give it a shot to see. I think I have all this stuff here hooked up correctly. I'm not sure. I turned this all the way in and brought it out 1.5 turns. That's standard, I believe. So let's put a little gas in this tank. I'm pretty sure this new gas isn't what I should be putting in here, but I don't have any wrecked fuel. It's something I normally would use in an old engine like this, I guess. I put the cap in the ultrasonic cleaner. Look how clean that got. Now I don't know, should I prime it again? I'll put just a little bit in there. And then we will pull it. I don't know about you guys, but that seems like it's really running pretty darn good, actually. That recoil's sure making a lot of noise though. I have to check that out. Something's not right in there. Okay, let's see if it starts on its own. It's definitely the recoil. Let's see if it's... The motor runs. Should we bolt it on and just see how the tiller goes? How far do I want to go on it? I told you I was going to share a little bit about the history of this motor. This motor here is off of a rototiller, and that rototiller is manufactured by the Quick Manufacturing Company. The Quick Manufacturing Company was started because of one man's desire to start what he called a victory garden, and what we called a victory garden. It's a garden planted to help support people by sharing the vegetables in our troops overseas during World War II. So he built a prototype garden tractor to help in his garden. His son came home after the war, 1945. He saw what his father had created, and with the two of them together, they started the Quick Manufacturing Company, or incorporated. And they made these garden tractors for the neighbors. After that, they developed a lawnmower and a rototiller, and eventually even some snow blowers. So from 1946 and the next 20 years, they built this garden equipment until Toro in 1966 bought the Quick Manufacturing Incorporated Company out. And if you look at the early Toros, a lot of them look like these rototillers. And I just found that interesting, and the main reason why I wanted to save the tiller. I would like to hear your comments, things that I might have done wrong that you saw, or things that you found interesting. Share with me about some of the things you've worked on. If you like my channel and you want to subscribe, I would encourage you to do so. If you like what you see, that way you don't miss. If you hit the notification button, it'll tell you when my videos are up. I try to put out 1 or 2 a week. If you want to continue watching right now, I would encourage you to watch this video right here. It'll share with you more about who I am, what I do, and some of the projects that I tackle. Many of them. Watch this video right here. Again, can it be fixed? Sure it can. Can you fix it? You're darn right you can. Until the next one.